everybody of the internet. This is Dayle Decker, and I am joined by.
Zac Serowik, that's me. Hey, hello.
Hello. So obviously, we are not your normal hosts of the Say Report. This is, of course, the Say Report Junior. Um, and
The
as
better, younger, sexier version of the
exactly, there you
ceremony.
go. That's the tagline right there. That is
Uh,
all. That's the only description that we need. Um, so basically, yeah. So obviously, I am not Devon, and he is not Sejohn. So, we they wanted us to record and have our own conversation and see what happens.
yeah, and how much how much prep did they give you on this? Because Devin was like messaged me like months ago and was like, "Oh yeah, we want to try an episode with you
Yeah.
guys on it." Like, okay, cool. And then like about a month ago, he goes, "Oh, I'm tagging you guys in this tweet.
Yep.
Figure it out."
Yeah.
And I was like,
Exactly.
"Is it just the two of us? Is it all four of us? What are we doing? I don't know what we're doing."
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Like, he floated the idea by me and said that Sejohn was really into it. He was really into it, and that they thought it was gonna be funny. And I was like, yeah, that's funny. I think your listeners would enjoy that. And then nothing. And then I heard nothing about it. And I was like, hey, remember that Say Report Junior? Is that happening? What's going on? And then he was like, oh yeah, well, we still want it to happen, but we're thinking. And he like just gave me little snippets every once in a while, and then he finally tagged us in that tweet, and I was like, okay, so this is actually happening.
There we
Good,
go.
I'm
Just
excited.
jump right in. Let's just
Exactly.
jump right in and do this thing.
Well, that's why I was like, okay, so I need to start messaging Zac and be like, what are your interests? Like, what should we
Yeah,
talk
I mean,
about?
yeah. So let's part the. I mean, to use one of Devin's favorite phrases at this point, let's part the curtain here.
Yeah, there we
You
go.
and I, you and I are not like have not been friends for 10 years like the
No,
other two have.
no.
We have in fact never met before, if I remember correctly.
I don't
I mean,
think so, and even if
like
we did, I would be too young. Like, I think we'd be too young to remember.
exactly. So like it's like, oh yeah, here's a show where two guys who've been friends for a dozen years talk about stuff they love. Oh, we're gonna do a random episode, by the way, where two people who've never met are just gonna just start shooting the shit and see what happens. That
Exactly.
makes for great radio. So
I mean, in a sense, it does, because, it literally anything can happen now. Like,
like perfect.
anything, it's going to be good. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see by the
Well
end.
then let's start here. Let's start with I guess we'll try their format, what little
Yeah.
format they have. What have you been doing for the last week? Playing, watching,
Oh,
anything like
okay. Well, so I've been working a lot, obviously, but who doesn't?
right?
But between work, I do play video games quite a bit. I've been trying to. I don't know how much Sejan talks about this, but Devon is obsessed with. I don't know if obsessed is the word, but he really loves Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Oh,
Um,
I mean, I've only been listening to the show for the last year. I never would have
yeah,
noticed.
right, right.
So,
So that's true. That's true. Um, yeah, it's not like he talks about it all the time. But yeah, so he for Christmas he actually bought me because he's wanted me to get into it and start playing it, and I wanted to as well. Because I never played it as a kid, never really played Zelda or anything like that. I did know who Zelda and Link were though, so kudos
right,
there.
because
I never fell
Zelda,
for that.
of course, because Zelda's the boy,
Right, yeah, exactly, right?
and Link is the one that you rename to like Buttface at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, he becomes your rival. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Um, so anyway, so he bought me for Christmas on my DS. He actually bought me the virtual console edition of Link to the Past. So I've been playing
Nice.
that for like since Christmas, about a month. I really like dove into it beginning of January and then kind of close to the end of it. But I beat all the bosses. I got there. I finally got to Ganon today, and I cannot beat him.
God, I
Yeah,
can't even remember that fight. So I mean, I've played it a few times over the
yeah.
years, but it's been a while.
It's
I
been a while.
can't even remember that fight. I'm sure it's beaten the hell out of me a
It's
few
like,
times.
yeah. I mean, and the problem is that I know because I've seen some of his randomized matches when he's streaming and whatnot. So I know like little tricks, but I can't execute them as well. So
That
it's
actually, so that
yeah.
actually happened to me the first time I tried to play Wind Waker because I had it on
Okay,
like
yeah, yeah, okay.
GameCube, and I distinctly remember the very first time I played GameCube, and I played GameCube for the first time ever. That's not the sentence that was supposed to come out of my mouth.
It's
The
fine.
very first time I played Wind Waker, I didn't beat it. I got to the final boss in like for some reason I fell off because I couldn't finish that battle, which I'm
Yeah,
sure is a very easy one. I replayed it on Wii U like last year, and I got through it in like 2 days. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
yeah.
What was it about this fight
I
that
mean,
just like kicked my ass so much the first time?
yeah. Well, the craziest thing, like that's the coolest thing about video games. I think I don't know. We can get into that later, but um, like I like patterns in video games, and I know everyone kind of likes patterns in video games because that's how you learn. But Zelda, like I never realized that it was really a pattern oriented game. So I thought that because anytime I've played it before, I'm like, man, I suck at this. I cannot complete the first dungeon. I cannot get to Aghanim. I can't do this. And I would just give up and give up. And like when I was a kid and everything. But then as you get older, you see these patterns and it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. I'm not terrible. I just can't figure out the pattern, you know? So it's that's what I really like. And I like that but freaking Ganon, like,
Yeah,
somehow has a pattern but doesn't. And it's like, okay, this freaking, like, what the hell? Like, what the fuck? Come
I'm sure
on.
it's probably one of those stupid things where it's like he's got like seven patterns and they
Yeah,
just keep flipping
yeah,
through them, but so
exactly.
you have to figure out what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm terrible with pattern recognition like that. Like it's for the amount of video games I play, I should be much better at it.
yeah,
And at the same time, it's like if I as soon as I recognize the pattern, I'm like, oh, this is nowhere near as fun as when I was getting my ass kicked because I thought the whole thing was random. That's why I don't think I've ever gotten through like a Dark Souls game before because
yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, if I'm gonna play the same section 80 times and now I can tell you exactly what's
How
about
it's
to
going.
happen, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah, yeah. It loses that replayability.
Right.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But yeah, so and I was texting Devon. And I was like, listen, I know I can get past this part, and then I can do the torch glitch, which is what I've seen him do in his races and stuff. And I was like so prepared to do the torch glitch, which is basically I think you have to. There are two torches in the room, and you have to light one, and then before the other one, or before it goes out, you have to light it again, and it will forever stay lit, and then the floor won't fall out from underneath you.
Huh.
I could be completely wrong because I don't play it nearly as much as him. But from my understanding, I think that's what you have to do. But I texted him, like, I was so excited to do the torch glitch, and he was like, "Yeah, pro tip, you can't do the torch glitch in that version of the game." And I was like, are you kidding me right now?"
I was like, oh yeah, by
Like,
the way, I'm playing with like the most fucked up version ever.
yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
you're not allowed to use those things.
Exactly. Although I was able to successfully pull off a bomb jump for the first time, for like on my first try, and I don't know if you've heard him talk about it. He probably has. But you put a bomb in front of you, and like you basically sacrifice yourself to get hit by the bomb, and you can jump over a platform and get to the
Right.
other side. So, and I did it on my first try in an area that you did not have to do it. But I was very excited. But I mean, other than that, that's like been my big video game kind of thing. I don't know if the episode is up. I think it is, but we just saw the 50 Shades of Grey marathon,
Yes.
which those movies are fantastic.
Oh my God.
I'm
I'm
so
like, I
sorry.
tried to read the first one like years ago. I was like, I'm just gonna download like I found like a pirated like ebook version
Yeah,
of it
yeah,
because I
yeah.
was like, I'm not giving this shit any money. And I got through like one chapter and nothing happened in the chapter.
Yeah.
The literal whole first chapter is her going into the building and meeting Christian Grey.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. I was like, I can't stay with this.
So I feel
This is
like
so
I
bad.
I feel like the books are wildly different from the movies, as any adaptation is.
Almost almost definitely
Like
because
definitely.
I'm sure like because she is not writing the movies.
Yeah, exactly,
So by
exactly.
definition they have to be better.
Oh my god.
Like
But so I mean, so we saw that. I really like them. We can get into that later on if we want, but I really enjoy them. And then I mean, what else? I've really just been playing Zelda. Got back into Horizon Zero Dawn. Um,
see now that's another one I fell off of and I think it's just because it was, the big open world thing.
Yeah.
Last year, just in general, was insane
It
for video games.
Yeah, it was a
Uh,
lot of open world, and it was like kind
yeah,
of, come on, guys, let's do
and
something else.
not just that though. Just like I don't think they've gotten into this before, so we can talk about this. This 2017 might have been one of the best years for video games
Oh,
in 10 years.
hands down.
Uh,
Yeah, definitely.
and so like just going through going through history, it's actually kind of weird.
Yeah.
So 1997, huge year for video games.
Yep.
And I think I forget what came out that year. I just know it was huge. Like people like to talk about that. 2007 saw the first Mass Effect, the first BioShock, the
Hmm.
first or like Halo 2, like all of it. So like every year that ends in 7 just ends up being this huge
Yeah.
year for video
Yep.
games just randomly. And it's probably just weird like development cycle shit.
Yeah.
And 2017 continued that pattern.
Hmm.
And I think what happened with Horizon Zero Dawn is that I tried to play that after I played Breath of the Wild for like a month and a half.
Okay. All right. Fair
And I
enough.
was like, oh, I can't just climb on anything I want.
Yeah.
This is like, I can't just like, I realized that there's like three things that you do 1,000 times in Breath of the Wild, but for some reason, I loved doing those.
Well, it's
And
also
as soon as I was like stuck doing the same thing like 5 times in Horizon, I was like, I
yeah.
can't do that
Well,
now.
so I get you. I mean, I loved Horizon Zero Dawn, and I hate open world games. So I don't know if it was because it was so different than anything else I had played before, or if it's because, like in 2016, Devon and I actually went to like a live stream of an E3, of the Sony E3
Okay, yeah.
conference.
No, I remember that conference. I was like sitting at home watching that and
Yeah,
going, this game's gotta be
exactly.
awesome.
So I saw that, and like we were in a movie theater. So you're in a theater of just gamers and like game lovers, and we're watching that trailer, and it's breathtaking. The scenery, the graphics, everything is just so beautiful. And then you have a badass like female lead with
Yeah.
a bow, with which, like, yeah, we have Lara Croft and everything, but like this is also
Yeah,
like
but this is a bow with like 5,000 different arrows that do different
exactly.
things every time you shoot them.
And then
Like,
and then like the whole concept of it's prehistoric, but it's also futuristic was something that really like tug at my imagination, and like I was sold minute one. I saw that, like, I was in for it. And I got a job at GameStop, whatever. And I that was the first thing I pre-ordered while I was working there. So I was hyped for this game forever. And like as it was getting closer and closer, I was like nervous because I'm like, it's not gonna be what I want it to be. It's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be awful. Blah blah blah. And then it came out, and I took down. I don't know how far you got in it.
uh, probably like the third city. So like I got a good chunk of the map
Okay, all
filled
right,
out.
yeah. So
So
but you take down, like, you do that first mission where you have to I don't know if it's the first or second mission, but you have to go and you have to take out the Watchers, and you get to learn how to, maneuver around the machines. And let me tell you, real or fake, taking down a big ass machine with a bow and arrow is the most satisfying thing I could ever do in a video game. Like,
it was an amazing game. Like I don't want to like discount the game. It was
oh
just
no no
that
no,
like, I
it's just
burned myself
boring.
out on I burned myself out on Zelda so badly that like
Exactly.
I couldn't do like another huge game like that. But like I don't want to discount the fact that it is an
Oh no
amazingly
no no.
crafted game. Like it was the first game where I used like side like traps and
Yeah.
grenades, mines and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I never do that in a game. I just like brute force my way through everything. And that game was like, oh no, here's this patrol of this giant freaking like robo dinosaur. You have to set up traps
Mhm.
and you have to hide and you have to like plan this thing or it will fuck you up so
Yep.
badly.
Yeah. You will
And it
fucking
was
die.
amazing. Yeah, no, it was amazing like that. I love that aspect of it. It was
Yeah.
just that like I got to my eighth camp of bandits and I was like, this is
Exactly.
I do this with Assassin's Creed all the
Yep.
time. I don't need to do this again.
Yeah.
Like, give me
Well,
more robo dinosaurs.
it's funny because like you played Breath of the Wild first and then Horizon. I played Horizon Zero Dawn and then Breath of the Wild. So I was like, this is boring. And like I also didn't have the, Zelda nostalgia that everyone else had who was buying it. And yeah, it was just like, this is fun. I like it. It's cool that your weapons can break, and I really like the shrines, but it's like this is too big of a world, and I'm moving too slowly. I felt like I was making no progress. Whereas in
No, I can,
like
yeah, I could see that. No, I can
yeah.
totally understand that.
But again, like that game, that movie, that that game is Breath of the Wild is very gorgeous. Like I like that's the kind of game where I like watching like friends play it, or watching like Devon play it, or like streamers play, because it is visually like stunning, and it's fun, and it's fun to listen to them laugh and everything like that, and it's infectious and contagious. But playing it myself, I was like, I'm just gonna play Horizon. Like, I'm just gonna stick with that. So,
Oh, there you
but
go. It's like I don't have that same nostalgia for
Zelda,
Zelda
yeah.
that a lot of people do either. Like, as much as I love Link to the Past, the problem with the Zelda series is that every game tries to recreate Link to the Past.
Yeah, yeah.
So every game follows the same formula of you're going to wake up in a village, you're going to find three things, then you're going to find something else that's going to make you go find seven things. Like that is the formula of every Zelda game come out after Link to the Past.
Yeah.
And so Breath of the Wild was like this first game that was just like, no, fuck it, just go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like,
Which
and
is
that was the
super
first
cool.
one since, and it really is what it was they were going even further past when they went to go like remake this series. They went and basically remade the original Legend of Zelda,
Mm.
because the original Legend of Zelda on NES, you wake up on a beach and then you're just like, well, go figure out what to do. You're either going to find the cave with the sword, or you're going to die a bunch until you find the cave with the sword, and then you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh
really what
man.
they were doing with Breath of the Wild. And it had been 25, 30 years since they did that,
Mm.
that it broke the quote unquote formula that Link to the Past had created, but that so many people had forgotten. Like, no, this is what Zelda was when it started, was you're just going to go out and like find whatever you want to find, and just like look off into the distance and go, I bet I could climb that mountain. You can climb that mountain.
No,
just
you
just
you
God
could do
God
it.
forbid it, God forbid it rains, because if it rains, you're stuck.
I
the
think
one it's the most annoying criticism I have of that game, is that like I love it, but I hate being stuck for 20 minutes while it
gotcha.
rains because I
Yeah.
can't climb the mountain anymore.
That's that's cool too, because like I really like that the weather has a factor on your game, and it's like, oh, but it's snowing now, and I can't do what I could before. No, this is not okay. Oh, but yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. I mean, what if the only other thing I've done is I tried Monster Hunter and I did not like it. Played 3 hours of it, could not get into it.
I mean, that's kind of how I played Monster Hunter on Wii U. I have
Yeah,
Monster Hunter the Ultimate, and I played like the opening of that game three times, and I
yeah,
can't get past it. Like, I just don't care. It sucks because I've watched people play it like online, like you said. Like, I could watch people play it for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes at a time, and be like, yeah, this is interesting. I'm never gonna touch this game.
yeah.
I'm never gonna do it.
Yeah, like it just felt, again, it was another, if I want to go hunting, and if I want to, if I want to do this kind of stuff, I'm just going to play Horizon Zero Dawn. Like it just gives me more fulfillment, I guess. And the I really like the Palico. I think they're cute, but there's something, it just freaks me out that they just they freak me out, and I feel really bad that like one of them is my housekeeper, and it's like, I don't like
I, I've
this.
I've enslaved cats, which is
Like,
weird because it goes the other direction usually. Cats are usually enslaving us.
exactly. Well, and I have a coworker who really likes the game, and he's like, you need to try it, and I'm like, you know what? I'll get it from Redbox. I'll try it. I'll play 3 hours of it, whatever. And I get to the Palico, and I'm like, and you get to this one. I don't know if you can in the past, but Monster Hunter World, you can customize your own Palico. So I'm like, oh, cool, he's mine. Like, oh, this is so cute. It's so adorable. And then like the game starts, and then I find out the truth of the Palico, and I'm like, oh my god, one is my housekeeper. Oh, my Palico just fell into a fire death, and I thought he was dead. And the first person he runs to when he's alive is not me. This is wrong.
Oh man.
and I came back to work, and I was like, why are the Palicos slaves? And he was just like, no, they're not. They are not. And I'm
They're
like,
they're they're quote unquote sidekicks,
their
we swear.
side, yeah, yeah, like it just felt very uncomfortable, and I don't know. But I don't know. I think that's enough of my week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what
So
have
I
you been
mean,
doing?
so again, I mean, if we're just starting with like the whole beginning of the year, so I spent way too much money on games last year
Mm,
and like trying to keep up with
yep.
everything that was coming out. And so I told myself this year, like I get paid every 2 weeks. I'm buying like if I'm buying anything, it's going to be under $20. Like it has to be
Yeah.
just to stick to not killing myself with financial debt. And so what I ended up doing is I'm buying a lot of games through the Switch eShop,
Okay.
which is great because so I ran my YouTube channel last year, and then this year my other project is I'm trying to just blog like once a month, do one story on video games in general, and keep it less like stressful because
Mm,
I started a YouTube channel. It was like instead of one video a week, it's like I'm going to do 3 videos a week because I love this. I have no idea how to video edit or like record or anything.
yeah.
So the other thing I decided to do because I can't do anything without like overdoing it was I
Mm,
was like, oh, I'm going to put together a release calendar too. I'm going to know everything that's coming out next month.
there you go.
That changes every other day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like Nintendo's really good about it. Like surprisingly, Nintendo sucks at most things when it comes to like promotion.
Mm,
They for some reason their website is the best website to go on and find out what's coming out in the
oh,
next like
definitely. Totally.
because it's just like, oh, go coming soon,
Yep.
a date, you're good. Microsoft doesn't even tell you dates unless you open up the page of the game and like if it's available for pre-order, then you might know when it's coming out. But if it's
Exactly.
not, then it's just gonna pop up. Like, oh my God.
Well, so
So
yeah.
I'm just like watching Nintendo every week. I'm just watching Nintendo every week and updating.
Yep.
Like, there we go.
Yep.
So this past, I think it was February 1st, this game called Celeste came out. And you want to talk about pattern recognition. Oh my God. Have you played this at all or
No,
seen
I
anything
haven't. I
about it?
haven't even. As soon as I left GameStop, I was completely out of like knowing because when I was at Game, you needed to know, and
Right.
like I said, like you just said, every single day it changes. So it's like I have this running list in my head of okay, this is coming out this day, this is coming out this day. Oh, we have a midnight. Like that's how my brain works. And as soon as I left, I know nothing that's coming out until it's out already. And I have some stuck in my head still from my GameStop days. So like I know that Spider-Man is coming out. I know that
Right. Basically everything that they showed at E3, we know when that's
exactly.
coming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, pretty much, but everything else, like all the little indie titles, like the just like obscure game, like I have no idea anymore. And it's kind of sad, but
Right,
you
and
know.
it's crazy because it's like, oh, by the way, we realized that March 1st is next week, but here's like 8 games that are
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah,
So like
exactly.
February 1st came
Just
out, like 12 to 15 games came out on the Nintendo eShop
Jesus. Yeah,
on
that's
February
crazy.
1st.
That's
And
crazy.
I knew about 7 of them the week before.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? But Celeste had been hyped for a little bit, and it just came out, and it's a one of those like hardcore platformers, kind of like Meat Boy, but
Okay.
a little bit slower. Like you don't have to like rush through the level the way you have to do with Meat Boy.
Okay. All
But
right.
the basic story is that you're playing this girl, and I know the like base name they give you is Madeline. I don't know if you can change that. Like there was an option or something that you could change it or not. And I was like, why would I do that? It doesn't matter. And she has gone to Celeste Mountain in Canada to just like climb it for some reason. And you learn throughout the game that it's like this whole thing about fighting her own anxieties and depression, and
Oh, okay.
it's insanely difficult. But every kind of screen that you go through is a pattern. And
Oh, cool. Okay.
I usually I've never finished Meat Boy. I can't do it. Like it's just like it's so much just like go 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 that it hurts my head. And Celeste like really really nicely was like every time you die, like a screen might come up, or between screens or levels, like a screen that comes up is like, oh, by the way, if you die, don't worry about it, don't stress about it. You're learning, and that's the most important part. And
Okay.
it's like,
All
and
right.
it's like,
All
oh,
right.
there are collectibles throughout the screens that are like there are strawberries floating around,
Yeah.
and it at some point it's like don't worry about collecting the strawberries if you don't want to. They don't actually mean anything at the end. It's just an extra challenge if you want to do it.
That's
And it's like
awesome.
this like weirdly cradling, nice, cute game
That's fantastic.
that is just like also like hardcore fucking like I died. I think I got to the end of it. It took me I think it was like 3 or 4 days, like 20 or 23 hours or
Oh
something like
wow,
that.
wow.
Over 3 days, and what would happen is I'd get so frustrated with the room I would stop for like 2 or 3 hours and come back to it because I needed to stop before I broke something.
Yep, yep, I
but
get that.
but so I think by the end of the game it was like, oh, you died 1,288 times between the beginning and the end
Oh
of this
my
game.
Jesus. Oh
I
my
have
God.
like one I have like one 15-second clip where you can see me die like 8
Nice.
times.
I
And
think.
some of it
Oh
is just
man.
because like the Switch controllers suck.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So,
It's
are you playing on the Pro controller or are you
no, I don't have a
using
Pro
the?
controller,
So you're
and that's
using
the
the
problem.
Joy-Con?
I'm using the
Yeah.
Joy-Con, and I
Okay.
had to snap them in. I had just gotten used to playing them just in like separate hands,
Yeah.
which is like
Yeah.
really comfortable.
Mhm.
I can't do
I
that with
agree.
this game because the the joysticks don't do eight direction anything very well unless
Yeah.
I have like, something to hold on to while I'm doing it.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's like the one thing about the Switch is I wish it was more comfortable. Sometimes when you're playing like those
It's
intense games. Yeah. I don't know.
it's like a curse with like Nintendo's like we have this really great idea, but let me just throw like 10 things at the wall that are gonna fuck that idea up like
All right. So
royally for a
I'm
while.
very happy you brought up this game because I need more Switch games. I have a Switch and I don't play it enough, and it's really depressing.
See, I
So
on the other hand, like I spent all last year, and maybe it's because like as like one of the I'm a huge Nintendo fanboy for no reason. Like I'm not someone who's like online like screaming about how everybody should love Nintendo
yeah,
and
yeah,
everyone else sucks. I try not to be that person, but like I have owned every Nintendo system
yeah,
since the Super Nintendo, like and without even thinking. It's just like the thing I go to.
exactly.
And so there's definitely like a part of me last year that was like, I need to buy something every couple of weeks to make sure that this system, like to be part of the people that are making this system
Got you.
like profitable.
Oh, I
Because if
hear
I
you.
don't, it'll die and then it'll be the Wii
Yeah,
U all over again.
exactly.
I,
Which
I own a Wii U. I've got like 8 games for it. They were amazing. And then the Switch came out and I was like, oh, they're re-releasing Wii U games. I'll buy those again.
yeah,
I bought Lego City Undercover, which
that game is.
everybody should play.
Oh my God, that game is fantastic.
Right, and they re-released it on on Switch, and I was
Yep.
like, "There we go. There, yeah, sure. Here's my $50.
Yeah,
Take it."
exactly.
Like,
Oh my God, me and my I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. I'm not employed there anymore. Me and a coworker, we used to. I would bring my Switch to work because our store, our GameStop was kind of slow. But so I used to bring it, and we used it was a used copy of Lego City, and we put it in, and we just had the most fun time playing that game in between customer. Like, that game is so stupid, but it's. And anytime someone would come in and they're like, "I need a game for my kid," I'm like, "Lego City Undercover," and they're like, "Well, what's that?" I'm like, "It's Grand Theft Auto, but without killing and
exactly.
Legos."
Like you
It's
hit people with your card. He's like, "Sorry,
exactly,
sorry."
exactly. Like, it just doesn't have prostitutes in it. You still technically kill people, but it's a cute, fun Lego death.
And
As
also, like every other, like every cutscene is filled with a bunch of references your
yeah,
kids
exactly.
are gonna get. Like,
Exactly. Well, it's fun for you and it's fun for them.
like
So
it's like, oh yeah, our main character is named after John McClane, but
yeah,
no kid's ever gonna understand that for 10 years, so don't worry
exactly.
about it.
So good, so good. I love that game. I don't
Yeah.
own it yet, but I that game is.
Oh
Oh
man,
my God,
it's
it's so
it's
much
it's
fun.
so good. It's so good. So I bought that. One of the greatest games that I played last year was called Golf Story. So I don't know if you
Oh,
played this, but
no, I
oh
heard about it, but is it really
oh
good?
man, it is. But what's really sad is that the game is good. I played it for like 20 hours. I loved it. I loved every second of it. It also might have some of like the worst golf mechanics that any
Oh,
game has had because I'm so used to like Mario Golf.
yep,
Like Mario
yep.
Golf perfected golf mechanics in a way that no other golf game has, and I don't know why. Like no one has just like aped that. So like figuring out like the wind and the slope and all of that is
Yeah,
kind of annoying. But Golf Story is this dumb game where you're playing this kid who's like his father is like this huge golf hero or I think like was supposed to be this huge golf hero and like failed his last tournament or something. So you have this weird need to like go win a golf tournament
Yep.
or
Yep.
like to like honor your father's memory or something. And so you're going through like kind of like a mother like Earthbound style world
Oh wow.
where
Okay.
you have this like overmap that takes you to like 8 different golf
Jeez.
courses, and like one like the first one is just like the crappy golf course that you used to golf at with your dad and now it's gone and disappeared, and then the second one is this like caveman golf course
Oh my
where
god.
everyone's a Neanderthal that you're talking to.
What?
Yeah, and then it's like, and then the third world is like, oh, you're up in the mountains, and if you hit it in the wrong spot, birds will take your ball and throw them somewhere randomly on
Holy
the course.
crap. That's fantastic.
And through all of this, you're doing like these goofy side quests for people, and
Yeah.
you're just like eating. You're basically just like you have to go and impress everybody so that they'll let you golf on their course. Like that's what everything is,
Oh my
and
god.
it culminated in like the like big classy golf course where like only the old people get to golf because young people are too like millennials suck and young kids are terrible. Why would
That's
we let you
awesome.
golf on our course?
So good.
And so you like go and impress the old people, and it culminates in a rap battle between old people and young people about golf. Like
What? I need this game.
exactly.
I
Like
need to play this. Like, how have I not already played
and
this?
it was only like $20. And I was like, this is
Oh my
perfect.
god, that's so good. That is so. That's just like that's everything I want in a
And that's
video game.
and that's exactly like and that's like the way that like Switch was like, oh yeah, we're gonna come out and like just the dumb shit, put dumb shit all over this thing.
That's
Like
awesome.
like
Oh my
SteamWorld
god.
Dig 2 came out and I played that on Switch and I love it. I
Yeah.
love the ability to be like, I'm gonna go lay in bed and play SteamWorld for a little bit. And then
Yeah.
like and then that was one of the games. So about 3 days before February 1st comes around, all of a sudden they're like, oh, by the way, you can get SteamWorld Dig 1 now. And February 1st, 3 days. Go ahead. You can take it. It's like, are you kidding me? Like tell me about this stuff beforehand. Don't tell me this 3 days
Oh
before
my
it comes
god.
out. And
I
like
need
Bayonetta,
time to prepare.
yeah, like Bayonetta 1 and 2 come out on Friday.
Yep. Yep.
And then
Yeah, I know
Bayonetta
that.
3 comes out next month.
Yep.
Then a new Kirby game comes out next month.
Yep. Yep.
They've been like weirdly
Donkey
quiet.
Kong. I don't know.
Second year.
Has Donkey Kong already come out?
No, Tropical Freeze hasn't come out yet, so I never got that on Wii U, so
Yeah,
that'll be
so
nice
that's
to
gonna
get
be-
that. Like the biggest thing that the
Crazy.
Switch is going to have is like we're just going to re-release the stuff on from Wii U that nobody bought.
Yep. Yep.
It's like
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
surprised. I'm surprised that like Nintendo Land hasn't come out on that yet. So
Yeah. People loved Nintendo Land too, so I'm very.
it was just weirdly dumb shit. Like
Yeah.
Nintendo is perfect when they're doing dumb stuff.
Exactly.
It's
Yep.
when they try to overextend themselves into like the higher kind of like AAA crap that comes out where it's
Yeah.
like, stop, Nintendo. That's not who you are. Just doing your dumb shit because we love your dumb shit.
Exactly. Oh
Like
my
Mario Odyssey came out and it was like 8 months of, oh my God, Mario has nipples. Like that's your audience,
Exactly.
Nintendo. They just did like a Q&A with
Oh
the
my
producer of like Mario Odyssey, and the first question they gave him is, why does Mario have nipples and not a belly button? And he looked at the camera and said, are we really fucking doing this right now? Like, is this really the
So
first
good.
question
Oh
we're
my
starting out
God.
with?
So good. Yeah. Oh my god. I will say I am very excited for when it eventually comes out, the Pokemon game, whatever
Oh my
it's
God.
going to be.
We'll maybe find out more about it in June for E3. Like
I
we
hope
might.
so.
Find-
Oh my god.
I
I'm
love that.
so
I love that
excited.
because that was very definitely like please stop yelling at us style where it was like we don't have a preview, we don't have a title, I don't even have like people working on it yet, but I swear to God, in RPGs like
It's-
full Pokemon RPGs coming out for Switch, please stop asking me these questions.
going to happen. Just shut up
It was this
and
thing with
try
like the
and enjoy Sun and Moon.
I feel
and
like the
Ultra
Metroid Prime like 4 trailer is the same way where
Yeah.
it was like we have nothing to say about this game other than it's coming. Please shut up now.
Isn't it enough just to know
Yeah.
that it's somewhere in the time? Like, calm down, people. Oh my god.
All right. Okay. So we're 40 minutes into this thing.
We are.
I think it's time that the Say Report finally deals with the Orville.
Thank
Let's
God.
talk about
Thank
the
you.
Orville.
Oh man, I love that show.
Because because I think Sejohn keeps forgetting to watch it, and I think that's why it hasn't come up
Oh,
yet.
really? So we're getting to it before them. That's
Oh
fantastic.
yeah, yeah,
That's
because they've
awesome.
talked. I think the last time they talked about it was like, oh yeah, no, definitely watch it, and Sejohn's like, yeah, of course, and which means it'll never happen.
Well, it's like
Uh,
Devon. It's like trying to play games with Devon. Although he has gotten better with it. It's like, oh, you want to play this? Yeah. 5 weeks later. um. No, I
okay,
I love I was so against the Orville. I don't even know why I was so against the Orville, but when it was coming out, people were so excited for it, and I'm like, it's just gonna be another Seth MacFarlane show. It's just gonna be stupid. Like it's gonna be dumb jokes. It's like it's just gonna be a live action, cartoon that he's gonna make, and it's basically just a love letter to Star Trek. I was so against it. Was and then I was Devin was like, you need to watch the first 3 episodes. You have to at least give it to the first 3. And I watched them, and my God, I was hooked. Like, like if something can make me cry, like really cry, then I'm hooked. You know?
yeah, no, and in a way, you were almost right in that it is very much Seth MacFarlane's like love letter to Next Generation
Yeah,
specifically. Like
yeah,
that's what it is, and it's almost like he's caught in a prison of his own making because the show is at its best when it is just doing Star Trek. When it is just like we're going to
mm,
do Star Trek stories and we're going to talk about like alien life and
yep,
we're going to get into transgender issues and all of this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
And it is at its worst when they're just like, oh, we've gone 10 minutes without a joke. Somebody do something dumb.
yeah.
Please, somebody. And it's like, oh my God, Seth, you wanted to make a TNG. And Fox was like, but you're the Family Guy guy. You have to do
Yep,
things, right? And I was like, oh no, oh no.
yeah. Well, it's like, yeah, because you're right. Because when it has heart and when it's serious, like it packs a punch. The third episode, I believe, is the episode. I mean, spoilers. We shouldn't have to say spoilers if you've been listening to the Say Report,
Like
but
ever.
yeah, exactly. I think the third episode is when Brutus and
Yes.
Cliven have their daughter, right?
Yes, because it's like the stinger at the end of
Exactly.
episode 2, and then all of episode 3 is
Three is
about the
that,
baby being female.
and
So
and
if anyone
so
out there has not watched the show or needs
exactly,
to
yeah.
have like the context of what's going on, basically the wharf of of this series. What's his name? Is it Boris? Why do I keep wanting to say
It's
Boris?
it's I think it's Brutus.
Nate, like that.
It's
But
Brutus and I think Clyden. I
yes,
haven't watched it in a while, but I'm pretty sure that's their names.
yeah, and so they come from a species that is in
Entirely
theoretically
male.
entirely male. They're all
Yes.
one gender.
Yep.
Not it, which is strange that it was like it's not that they're androgynous, it's that they're all
All
male.
all male, which I
um,
think is very
and
cool.
and that once every so many of them, like a
Yeah.
female is born, and it's considered like a huge like slight and a like a birth
Mhm.
defect
Mhm.
almost.
Yeah.
And so they have a female baby, and it becomes like a whole thing about whether or not they should have surgery to they should basically do a sex change on this
Yeah.
child
Yeah.
to make them
Which
to
like
make them male.
I feel like that's the perfect third episode too, because you're gonna lose half of your viewers, but you're gonna gain some, and you're gonna keep the people who are like, okay, you just did something very interesting, very cool, and the outcome, whether you're happy with it or not, they stick to their guns. I mean, that whole episode. So yeah, so like Zach said, it's the whole episode is whether or not they are going to perform a sex change on the daughter. Um, Brutus, like both Brutus and Clyden, they're very like hard trying. No, we need a sex change. We need a sex change. This is how we are. This is our culture. It A female cannot be within our culture.
And then Brutus watches Rudolph
Rudolph,
the Red-Nosed Reindeer,
it's
and
fantastic.
like I watched that like scene, and I was like, well, okay, so every other scene leading up to this has been someone trying to convince him
Yep.
that females are not terrible,
Yeah.
and that it should be fine,
Yep.
and it hasn't worked. And so then, what is that? The helmsman and the pilot that
Yeah.
show up,
The
like, or just like show up. They're like, we're gonna get drunk and watch Rudolph, and you're like, well, okay. So going with the pattern of this episode, this isn't going to work, and instead
it
it
works
works. It
with
works
Brutus.
perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because instead of being females are good, it's different is good, and that's
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Which so then you have that switch where Brutus is like, no, okay, we need to let her be her own person. We need to let her, experience life the way she's going to live it. Like we can't make this decision for her. And then you still have Clyden who's like, no, like and then he reveals that he was a female and it's like, oh my god, like what are you gonna do? Like and it's like so it was weird. I don't know if you felt the same way, but I was very torn the whole episode because I was like, on one hand, this is their culture. This is if they raise her as a female, they're afraid of the backlash that they're gonna get, which it's very
It's
easy.
very much like it's the easy allegory to make of like,
Exactly.
well, if everyone finds out my son is gay, they're going to judge me on top of that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's
it's
like, and it's also, yeah, it's also like trying to protect her from that kind of backlash as well as them. So it's like, well, if she grows up as a female, there's stuff on our planet that she might not be able to do. Now, I don't think they ever say she can't do it. It's that she might not be able to fit in, and
yeah,
that's what we're afraid of,
and that's one of the big things that like hooked me on that episode. I cannot believe I'm breaking. Okay, quick aside. There's another podcast I listen to, and yes, Sejohn and Devon, I'm going to use you to plug another podcast. There's another podcast I listen to called Mission Log, which is about Star Trek, and what they do is go through every single episode and movie, break it down, do like a recap, some trivia, and all that, and then they talk about like the moral lessons of that episode.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. They are just about to do Star Trek Nemesis, which means they've done all of TOS,
Oh, cool.
all
Okay.
of the animated
Very
series,
cool.
and all of next gen, and they're going to start DS9 next week. And I we're about to break this down the way that they do, and I love that. Like this is why the Orville is a very good show. So
Yeah.
here's the thing, like it's a very good show if you're okay with the fact that it's just more TNG, which I am. I'm fine with that. I also think that like it coming out along Discovery, which just came out, and Discovery is very different from Next Generation.
Yeah.
It's kind of split the like Trekkie fans to be like, well, I want more of the same, and I want something really different, and it's caused this like weird rift.
Yeah.
We can get into that another time. We're gonna do a second. We're gonna do a second Sarah Port Jr. that is all about how Discovery
Just
is
Discovery.
great. Discovery is great, and everybody's dumb when they say it's bad.
Good. Okay, I'm excited for
So,
that.
so I'm watching this episode, and I look, and they're like, oh, so Clyden was born female
Yes.
and got the sex change. Their daughter is born female. Then it's later revealed that one of the great writers of their culture, who everyone thought was male, is also
It's also
female.
female, yes.
And I watched that episode. I go, how many females are actually being born here? Is it just a lie from like your like culture or your
Yeah,
government that
so it's
like that it's one in every like once every 7 years or once
Yeah.
every 7 million of them like a female is born? It's like, really? Because literally it kind of looks like it's a 50-50 thing, and you guys
Yeah.
are just lying to yourselves
Because
about
because
it.
I guess technically, because the writer, I don't remember her name, but she like lives up in the mountains or whatever. She's like maybe one generation older than Clyden. Then there's Clyden. Then there's that next generation
And then it's
of
literally
the baby.
Clyden's daughter.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's like, so then, this is stuff I've never even thought of. This is like I've never even thought of. So is it every X amount of years, or is it
I feel like
every generation? And if it's every generation or every other generation, which it wouldn't be because, like I just said, it's generation, then generation, then generation, is it followed in Clyden's bloodline? Well, they didn't say that the writer woman was related to Clyden or anything like that. I don't think she is. But, like, that's kind of interesting, too, that,
right. You just kind of get this impression that it's like, oh, this is happening way more often than you all think it is. It's just that
Yeah.
every time it happens, you're all convinced that it will be terrible for females, and so you give
Exactly.
them a sex change, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it skews the
Yep.
numbers.
Yeah.
Like
So,
maybe you've been a binary gender species or even a spectrum gender species
yep.
for years, and you don't even know it.
But someone somewhere was like, "Listen, we're on a planet where females are not going to survive," or something like that. Like again, I have to watch that episode, but it's like we're on a planet there where females are not going to survive, so we have to make them male. Like this is how our culture will be, and then it like kind of became this, it's a birth defect thing, which is very cool. But yeah, I I don't know. So the ending of the episode, we're just gonna jump into that because we're,
Sure.
I don't know.
Like, here's the thing. If us talking about this one really great episode of this doesn't make you go, I should really give this series a chance, then nothing will, because
Exactly.
like this is, at
The
least
make
in
or
the
break.
first 5 episodes, this is the great episode.
Exactly.
Like there have been, I mean, I've found something to enjoy in every episode so far, but this is like the great episode that made
Yeah.
me go, no, I need to give this like more of a chance.
Me
Like this
too.
is Seth
Yeah.
MacFarlane's on a whole other level than he used to be with this series.
Yeah. I did
So
not expect as much depth and as much heart that this show has.
exactly.
And it's just like, wow. And you're like, then you remember it's Seth MacFarlane, and you're like, this guy is talented. You watch Family Guy, you watch all that, and it's like, oh yeah, they're funny, but like, Seth MacFarlane is a talented fucking dude.
He is, and I think that sometimes he gets his head up his own ass,
Exact,
and
yeah,
so and then things like Family Guy happen where they were
yes,
like, "Oh, I was canceled for like 2 years and came back, and now I'm untouchable.
exactly,
I'm Fox's
exactly,
untouchable
yep.
man." So we get to the end of the episode.
Exactly, yes. Um, so I the way I said, I was 50-50 the whole time. On one hand, I'm like, yeah, like maybe this is the time where they'll learn that if they integrate females, it might be different. It could be better. Like you haven't learned it, you haven't seen it, you don't know what it is. So, yeah, there's that fear of the unknown, but you could be the changing factor. You could bring something new to your civilization that was never brought before. But then on
And
the
then like they get to the end of the trial, and nope.
yeah, yeah, no, no, no. But then you have that other hand of this is our culture. This is what we know. We need to do what's best for her, and in our culture, what's best for her is to give her the sex change and make her a boy. Um, and it's like, wow, okay. So I would have been very happy if they didn't and they left her a female, but I was also slightly, I don't know, not happy, but like,
But it's
okay.
understand, like you
Like,
understand how it happened, why it
exactly.
happened, and you understand that the two of them are going to still love this child and do
Exact.
everything for them.
Exactly.
And it's just like, and it really comes down to like, it was even taken out of their hands. I mean, you could, by the writers, quote unquote, but from the episode, but I mean, it was taken out of their hands because they go to court about it and the court
Mhm.
decides, nope, you're getting the sex change. And
Exactly.
there it is.
Yeah.
So
So it's
like they
also
have that
it's all
plausible deniability of it.
exactly.
But
Yeah, like I was very like I'm sure there were people who watched it and they were like, "Nope, I'm done." Like why would they do that? But it's like if you look at it from the standpoint of Brutus and Clyden and of the court, you know, it sucks that they had to go to court for it, and it sucks that it came to that point, and it's kind of sad that in that kind of civilization, you really don't have a choice of what to do with your child. Although the woman who wrote their philosophy, her parents did. They basically ran away with her and was like, we're going to let her be her own person. But it's like,
at
no,
the same time, they made themselves complete exiles from the culture to live in the mountains to do it.
exactly.
Like
So
you,
it's like, is that really what you want? She got to learn and she became educated and you were able to teach her. But, she hasn't had that human interaction. So it's like, I don't know. You can see both sides of the coin. And the outcome of them giving the sex change is sad, but it's also satisfying.
and that is like one of the most like Star Trek things that happens. Like that is
Mm.
why this show is like a really great
Yeah.
continuation of Next Gen, and in many ways TOS. Like I think about, oh my God, I actually know the name of this, and this is depressing. Private Little War from original series, which is the Vietnam allegory episode.
Okay.
So they go down to this planet, and Kirk has met these people before, or maybe McCoy has. Someone has met these people before, and um, but they did it by pretending that they were from somewhere else on the planet because of Prime Directive bullshit.
Yeah.
So they've met these people before, and for some reason, the like tribe that they always are at war with, all of a sudden they have guns they should not have.
Okay.
And it's because the Klingons have shown up and just started selling guns to these people because they don't give a shit the way that the Federation does about contamination and all that. And so the whole episode is about whether or not they give them bigger guns or the same guns, and it's a whole Cold War allegory about, do you give someone
Yeah.
the same gun, or do you just escalate it and all of a sudden someone else, then they go and they
They're
try and
gonna
find
do
a
it
bigger
anyways.
gun because they know that there's people like the Klingons out there who are selling bigger guns. And the whole episode ends with the episode ends on, we gave them basically the same guns and now everybody's even, and we have no real answer for how this ends.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was Gene Roddenberry going, I fought in World War II. I don't know who the bad guys are in Vietnam. So I think the best thing that we can do is just give everybody the same guns and hope it goes back to a Cold War, which is like one of the most depressing endings to a Star Trek episode ever, because you want like Kirk to go in there and be like, no, this is the real answer and save the day. And instead he walks in and goes, I got nothing, guys. I'm sorry. Like, I'm putting my hands up like I got fucking nothing.
That's great. Like, I love when things don't have happy-ish endings, because it's like, not everything ends happy. Sometimes you just have to be okay with, how it happens, and you just got to kind of move on, and it's how you, react to that means more than what actually happened, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if I can tie this back to Discovery for like all of 2 minutes before we end,
before we have to end.
yeah, because we're coming up on an hour. If I could tie it back to Discovery, that's like the entire point of Discovery is that shit happens and it sucks, and the only thing you have is to just keep going with what you know and do what you know is right. Like, that's the entire point of Discovery. And when it comes out on DVD, everybody should actually watch it, because CBS, screw you and your terrible streaming system that doesn't even have like actual like CBS shows on it.
Yeah.
Devon spent all day on the episode today talking about The Class, and as soon as he was done, I was like, I'm going to go to CBS All Access and check this. Nope, The Class isn't on there.
Yeah, no.
Why? It was 19 episodes from 10 years ago.
Yep.
Why would you not have this show, CBS? So there we go.
That show's great. The Class was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so from what I gathered after, I mean, is there anything else that we should add? I mean, I think we hit everything on the Orville. I mean,
I think so.
There's always, but you have to finish it. So you're only on episode 5.
I'm on episode 5, and then I stopped because Hulu's also terrible sometimes and just stops working.
Yep.
So yes, I keep going. All 12 episodes that are available are up on Hulu right now, which is nice. It didn't do that whole like after 5 episodes things start to expire thing.
Yep.
So I was able to catch up. So yes, I am going to keep going.
Yeah,
I'm
awesome.
definitely going.
Yeah.
So
great. And now I kind of want to watch Discovery. Like, I kind of need to get my hands. I need to watch that. So
it sucks because that first pilot that actually aired on TV is a great pilot. It also ends kind of like in a gray, shitty area, and so everybody went, well, this isn't Star Trek. I don't want to watch this. And then it jumped to online only, and it was like, well, I'm definitely not going to watch it now. And so you don't get to see how great it gets.
Yeah.
Including the fact that Jason Isaacs is fucking phenomenal. Like, you don't see Jason Isaacs in those first 2 episodes, and he is incredible in this series. So is Doug Jones. Doug Jones, who everyone else knows as Sexy Fishman, is also big scaredy alien in this, and has like a great arc too. And it's, oh my God, I'm so mad that people didn't get to see it, because online streaming is becoming like the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so once it comes out, everybody go see it, please. Like, Redbox it, buy it, support it. It's great, I promise. So,
well, so I think this was a success. I don't know about you.
I definitely so. Like, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
this was.
So did I. I mean, you mentioned that maybe there will be another Say Report Junior where we could dive into Discovery and just have a discussion about that, and maybe tie it back into Orville and all that.
I would be totally willing to do that. I'd be totally willing to just like talk again for another hour. All of it.
Right?
Great.
Yeah,
I'm
me
fine
too.
with any of it.
Good.
So
Okay.
cool.
At least we're on the same page. It's good to know that we're ending this hour talk set, sesh or whatever, on the same page. That we both had fun and that we'd do it again. Another Say
Yeah,
Report Junior. Who knows? Uh,
absolutely.
well, is there anything else you'd like to add or anything like that?
I mean, other than just like self-plugging a blog with one story on it,
That's fun.
that's gaming story Serowik dot wordpress.com. I almost said blogspot. I'm not on blogspot. So gaming story Serowik. It's a gaming story spelled normally, and then our ridiculous last name, which is Serowik .wordpress.com. It's got one story on it so far. Hopefully by the end of the month it'll have two. That's all I got. So
All right.
yeah.
I mean, for me, like, I just hope you guys really enjoy. I don't have anything to plug yet. I sometimes stream on Twitch, but not recently. But thanks for coming in and listening to us rant about video games and all that kind of stuff. And hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, just let us know. Give some feedback. I don't know. I guess you can follow the Save Report on Twitter. Uh, at the Save Report. I'll plug for them.
Oh, yeah. I guess like my Twitter too is at Zerwisk, which I have to like spell for people. So it's Zerwiske. So there's that.
Yep.
Nope. SKI. Wow. Wow. I can't even know how to spell my own Twitter name. Zerwiski. There we go.
Nice. You can. I don't use Twitter as much. Maybe I'll start using it. You can follow me. It's at Dayle's Brain. So DAYLES Brain. BRAIN. Can I spell? Yeah.
Yeah.
So at Dayle's Brain. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed and thanks for listening. Peace out.
We don't know if it's Will or Will's sister, do we?
I think
Take it away.
I think it's Will's sister. I think she agreed to.
Cool.
So you know what? Take it away, Will or Will's sister. I don't know her name, which is really terrible. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Uh,
Great.
Thank you for listening to The Say Report with your hosts Dayle Decker and Zac Serowik. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.